profits. If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.
Good evening and welcome to episode 404 of Picks and Ponies right here on the HHH Racing Podcast. I'm your proud host, Howard Kravitz. What a very exciting show we have for you tonight as we're going to cover the outstanding, difficult, stakes-laden late pick 5 this Saturday at Keeneland. It is also grade 1 gamble weekend, one of the majors, so to speak, on the live money contest tour. Welcome to all of you watching and listening that will be participating either live, like yours truly, or virtually away from the track in the grade 1 gamble. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button on the bottom right hand side of the screen. Hit the notification bell below, and also smash that like button. We would greatly appreciate it. Actually, the notification bell should be in the top right hand side of most people's screen on YouTube. You can listen to this show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Anchor. The tip sheet keeps rolling, doing very well. Best bet, best play of the day, Burnham Square, baby. Came through for myself. Pete Visco also predicted him to win. We got $10 plus. Also hit the exacta on the power pick, the Keeneland only power pick tip sheet. Again, it's very profitable, very inexpensive. Look below the video player for our standard Saturday only power pick tip sheet. And on our website, it is not too late. You can still sign up for Team HHH, which is our year-long special power picks with a whole package of stuff. We do not prorate, just to let you know. But you know what? You've only missed the first weekend. So there's still a lot, literally almost 100 cards in our Team HHH power picks. And also we still have Keeneland only power picks. Again, look at our website, hhhracingpodcast.com, under the power picks tip sheet tab, and then hit specialty picks if you're interested in Team HHH or Keeneland only. And of course, we are sponsored very proudly by the Adelphi Racing Club. Yours truly is a member. Why are you not a member? Please contact Matt Couture. AdelphiRacing.com is their website. All right, let me bring on my co-host for tonight, who is anxiously waiting. We only have one co-host, but there's a good reason why. Plus, I'm sure this particular co-host will tell you we only really need one co-host from the East Coast of Maryland. Let's bring him on, Mr. Pete Visco. Pete, how you doing tonight?
I mean, it's never as good without Paul here, but
No, it isn't.
we're not going to have the same angry comments throughout the show, most likely. But other than that, I think you and I can handle it, at least for 1 week.
We sure can. We got beautiful Keeneland in the background here surrounding us with the horses leaving the or going into the first turn there. Where is Paul Halloran? Paul is in Lexington already, Pete, dining tonight with the Dormans, the wonderful Kelly Dorman, Leslie Dorman, Kylie Dorman, and also Michael Banahan from Godolphin. Look, Paul's got circles that we're just, we're not privy enough to be in those kind of circles, but
No.
I'm sure Paul's enjoying himself. It's a little cool, but this rain is finally ended for the most part. They got a small chance of rain tomorrow, but the weekend is going to be a little on the cooler side, but it is sunny and gradually warming up. Actually, Sunday, it's going to be close to 70 degrees. Saturday, it's going to be about 60 and sunny. So turf course is drying out. Everything is all good, Pete. We're very excited. As most of the podcast and also sort of distant relatives, let's just say, fans of the show and friends of friends are going to be at Keeneland this weekend competing in the Grade 1 Gamble and just enjoying the atmosphere, including Charlie Freeman's first time ever to Keeneland, and maybe Patrick's lovely girlfriend also first time to Keeneland. So a lot of people are going to be enjoying Keeneland. Let's just go to the chat real quick, Pete. We're going to jump in. Let's see here. Let's see. Terry Frank, let's go. Round 2. Absolutely. We're always excited to cover round 2 after betting and boozing tonight. As of course I'm traveling. A bunch of people are traveling, and we had to change our plans. Ralph Conti said there's a nice cross-country pick 5 on Saturday. I have not had time to look at that, Ralph, but I completely trust you on that. So we'll take a look. Let's see here. Just looking at the chat. Katie's in the chat. Yeah, we got a lot. Oh, let's see. Cameron Meredith. Woo! Almost didn't make it. Hey, everyone. Cameron, you made it. No worries. And even if you don't make it, Pete, there are replays they can
There's
watch,
other ways.
video and
I'm going to
audio,
bring
right?
one up. Let me bring this one up because
What's that about, Pete?
the truth. If you could see, let's see. I think it's that one. Yeah, right there.
The big one in the middle, or is it
No, that's
to the
easy
right?
goer. There's
There we
Zenyatta
go.
winning the
Perfect.
Breeders' Cup. Yep.
Nice.
There we go.
Rumor has it, Pete, that some of us might be able to see Queen Z in person.
Yes, I am upset about that. Now I'm mad that I'm not coming because
we were thinking about doing a live Keeneland Sunday from Zenyatta's stall. What do you think?
that sounds good.
She wouldn't mind, would
You
she?
can get her. She could do her little dance in the background, like she.
There you go. Like
That
she
would be
likes the
phenomenal.
horse we picked. She can do a little dance.
I did
If
see
she
one of
doesn't,
her.
She can like drop a turd or something.
Yeah, I mean that's probably what most
Poo-poo.
likely
You like
would
to
happen.
throw the poo-poo. Why can't she throw the poo-poo?
I did see that one of her grandchildren. I saw a work of theirs on X today. I guess for the sale or one of the, youngster who was working pre-sale. I think.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. Next time, make sure next time I go, which will be my first at Keeneland, then I will be going on that tour as well.
Beautiful.
I have a Zenyatta shirt upstairs. I should have wore it tonight. I did not.
That's okay. We'll say hi, for you to her if we have that.
Don't wear a Rachel shirt. She might bite your face or something.
No Rachel shirt. But I'd like to see her in person at some point as well. Hopefully I'll get a chance to do that. Maybe in the fall I'll do that. All right, Pete, let's talk about the Keeneland pick 5, late pick 5. Two grade stakes. Really, really good sequence. I thought very tough sequence, to be very honest. And I am going to mention a few contest suggestions, ideas. I mean, look, I'm playing in it. I can't give away all my secrets, Pete, but some things to ponder for the Grade 1 Gamble contest. And again, those of you not familiar, it's a live money contest. It's not $2 mythical, Pete. So it's real money you're betting, and you can bet exactas, tries, doubles. I mean, so it's going to be interesting. Horsey Dave is here. What's up, Horsey Dave? Horsey Dave, I don't know if he's spent all of his money on Molson's yet in that pick 5 and pick 6 he hit, but Horsey Dave, if you didn't hear our show earlier, this week hit the late pick, the pick 5 and the pick 6 yesterday. Wow, yeah, yesterday on Bluegrass Day. So
yep,
unbelievable job, Horsey Dave. Congratulations. All right, let's move on to the pick 5. Let me share the screen here so we can get Equibase. And speaking of Equibase and Speed Figs, I have a very exciting announcement, Pete. Breaking news that no one on the podcast knows about. Literally no one. None of the hosts or co-hosts, that I will break to you all tomorrow through email, and I will break to the public next week.
Lovely.
So it's called a teaser.
It's a nice teaser. Yes, that is a teaser.
So
yes.
it's good news, by the way, just to let you know.
I would imagine so. You wouldn't have announced it on here like that. I assume so.
Yes. All right, let's go to the beginning of the pick 5 on Saturday. It starts in race 7, main special weight, 6.5 furlongs for 3-year-olds on the dirt. Is a big field. What's new? Big field of 12. The 3 is now a gelding. Sorry, Chambers, but you are now a gelding. The morning line favorite, and it's a very soft one, is the number 1, Valiant Humor for Cox and Pratt on the inside. Let me go ahead and take off that banner and put up the banner for yourself and myself. I'm going 12-7-1. You're going 1-2-12. Pete, this is a very difficult race. And I'll tell you what, there is a ton, and I mean a ton, of early speed in this race. This could be one of those crazy fast times, and I don't know what to expect. It's very difficult, but let's go to you first. Talk about Valiant Humor for Cox and Pratt, who is one of those very speedy sorts. I got the wrong banner up there. Sorry.
Unless that's like Back to the Future and you have the results in advance, then yeah, I don't know if that one's going to help us as much. That would be awesome. We could use that for sure. Yeah. So Valiant. Oh, go ahead. I was just going to say Valiant Humor.
Go ahead. Very fast. This race is 6.5. Some of these horses have to go maybe a tad longer than they want, but the inside's been pretty good at Keeneland so far. Cox, Pratt, this one is absolutely sending. The question is he going to be good enough?
Yeah, my whole thing is this is sort of hopefully a sort of a speed of the speed, especially from the rail kind of play. But the one thing I do like is I always trust my guy Flavian to make the correct decision, and he's generally not the type. I say generally because he went against this note the other day with Emery, but he generally isn't the type to get himself stuck in any sort of pace duel. So I know even though he's from the rail, I think he can make the decision. Do I go now? Again, this horse has only run once, went to the lead. We don't know if any of these horses who were really lightly raced can rate or not. But I think this horse is just going to go, and I hope that just is faster than everybody else. A couple other things I like: lost to Retribution on debut, was the favorite, but Retribution came back and lost to Gunmetal on Bluegrass Day in what was a pretty nice race. I remember just handicapping that one.
Yep.
That was a pretty tough race. That was
Yes.
So ran well enough in there to at least I think flatter that debut effort. And then there was just some really good statistics that I thought, Cox switching to Pratt 35%. Cox is 43% wins, 80% in the money when he's a second-time starter, and they were in the money last out at this level in dirt sprints at this level. So there's just a ton of Brad Cox stats. There's a ton of Cox Pratt stats. And again, I just like the speed from the rail, and I'm hoping for a speed of the speed situation.
I think that's very well analyzed. I think he's way too talented not to use. Now, I was surprised in the time form they don't have it coded fast. I think that's, well, I shouldn't say time form's inaccurate. I'm just going to say I disagree. They have the one, not loose, but they don't have a fast pace. I can't imagine this is not going to be a fast pace with some of the other horses in this race. But the one, it's not my top choice, but he's just way too talented to leave off your horizontal tickets or vertical tickets for that matter. Was favored in a very tough race and went a long way before just being caught, like you said, by a good horse. I'm going to go to the outside because I think this horse can handle the 6.5. And I like the fact that my horse, speaking of fact, the number 2 is called Fact, who is also probably live.
Yes.
Well, let me just go through this speed situation I think, if Fact is live, this horse is going to be fast also for IRAD. Has been working very quickly. The 6 showed a lot of speed last time. We'll see what he does. This number 8, Zandvoort, wow. This horse just on video is really quick and is now with Asperson, now is on the 3-year-old, turned 3 now for Asperson. Blinker is on. I mean, this 8 just looks like he's going to go.
Yeah.
I think Big Truz, who I've got second, could be a talented runner for Brian Lynch based on the breeding, maybe more of a closer, but hard to say. But I think the 7's pretty talented. The 10 is going to show a little bit of speed. So there's a lot of speed in here. The number 12, Modus Bestia. Look who this horse faced. San Saba, who was the bee's knees, almost beat that one. And then the last race, which was a mile and 16th, was against Voldemort, who ran a hole in the wind, got an 84. Westwood was in the, San Anita Derby. So
and ran really well. I mean, that was,
and actually ran well.
Yeah.
So this horse, I also like the fact that the 12 Pete has a work over the Keeneland strip. If this horse was just coming in off the plane from Santa Anita, I might be a little negative, but I love the fact they shipped him early to Keeneland. Distance shouldn't be a problem. It has a work over the track. Should get a nice stalking trip, blah, blah, blah. Number 12, Modus Bestia, my top choice. I already mentioned the first-time starter, Big Truz, who I think there's not a lot of the breeding is there, obviously, with Justify. The dam was sort of this is the first baby, I think. Actually, so Sarlin ran once for Simon O'Callahan. This is the first baby to drop, but cost $300,000. And these last 2 works were eye-opening.
Yeah.
So I think that one might be live, and you've got Facts.
Honestly, the only reason I knocked Big Truz a little bit, and again, these were all picking nits here, was Brian Lynch was 0 for 13 wins, 2 for 13 in the money with his first-time starters at Keeneland. Yep. So again, I thought these were all razor-thin decisions between these horses. I think it's just a wide open, these ones where you got 1, no starters, no starts. you don't really know. There's a we can go on what we know, but then they show up and one just runs a hole in the wind, or you don't know what the hell happens. They get crazy because they get in some sort of speed duel, or they don't like being on the rail, or they don't like getting a little kickback. Who the hell knows what's going to happen with some of these first timers?
People are going to do whatever they want to do with the Grade 1 Gamble contest. I don't think I'm going to be playing this race. There's just too many question marks to me. But
yeah, it's a tough one.
I guess a lot of it's going to depend on where I am in the tournament. Hopefully, I'm still in the tournament.
I mean, would you look at is this one, because it's the first leg of the pick 5 too? Would you look at it and say, hey, let me see how the board plays? If something like if that big Truz who you kind of like starts taking a whole crap load of money, do you then say, yeah, maybe I will just lean that way and do something?
I'd probably lean more in the pick 5 rather than the contest.
In the pick 5, okay.
You know, I need to really like a horse to play in the contest, the live money contest, because there's no $50 win in place in these contests, but you start with I think 2,500. You can't mess around. So I'm sure a lot of people will be sort of messing around, but I will not be one of them, along with some guy named Miller and Anderson and a few other people that you're well aware of. So I have to really love a horse to play it in this tournament. But we'll see. Maybe if the 7 is 7-2, I might end up loving it. And we're gonna have paddock access, of course. So
you could check them out. Yeah,
go into the paddock, and that's a nice little advantage as well. Doesn't always mean a lot, but with firsters, of course, it could. Let's go on to the second leg, and this second leg, wow! I mean, this race 8, is very difficult. Purse is 120. They're going a mile 16th on the turf. This is for 3-year-old restricted fillies, and it is a big field and a difficult field and a lot to look at. You got a field of 12. There are 4 AEs. I only thought really one of them could be a possible factor, and that'd be number 13, Table Flirt. I guess Anel could be a factor, the 14. I personally don't like her. The money line favorite is the number 11, Al Jafara, for Chad and Flavian, a Euro. Let's see where we're going in this race. I'm going to go with that Euro. I'm going 11-8-5. Excuse me. Pete's going 2-5-11. Pete, this is a very difficult race. I'll go to you first. Always, Forever, a nice horse for Cox and Franco, if I recall. This horse is second time 2025, shows some nice tactical speed, an up-and-comer, and will not have to worry about being wide, which is more than I could say for some of these others, perhaps.
Yeah, and it's funny, the 8, I had 4 A's in this race, and the 8 was my 4th. So you and I are pretty much on a similar page here. Yeah, Always and Forever. I mean, if you can get a price, I always would like a 6-1 price on a Brad Cox. That's not too bad. I like this horse as 1 going the 8.5 furlongs, which we're going here. Broke the maiden, like you said, in the first race at 3, first race of 2025, off a pretty lengthy layoff since August. So sometimes you wonder, are they going to come back? Have they improved? Or are they just going to sort of stay the same and not really grow into themselves? And this horse looks like, at least in that first race, they added Lasix, sat a beautiful stalking trip, won pretty comfortably, came back with nice figure on both buyer and time form. I look at that as, hey, maybe this horse is coming back and is on the upswing. Now you're getting second off that layoff, second start at 3. Those are 2 angles that I always like. Second time Lasix. Also, the pace, as you're going to show here, the pace isn't expected to be super hot, but I think there's enough speed to where it's going to be moderate. You're not just going to get one horse walking. And I think this horse can get that beautiful stalking trip. I'd probably assume even a little closer than time form has it here. You know, Manny Franco, he could be aggressive enough. I mean, he's got that kind of style, but he can sit right off with this horse. $365,000 purchase. I think this one just has a lot going. Lost to Vixen, who came back and has been pretty nice this year. There's just a lot to like. One odd stat, which you don't get too many negative ones for Brad Cox, 3 for 30 in allowance turf routes at Keeneland, which again, that's very specific, but you don't see those very often with a trainer like Brad Cox. So they always stick out, especially when it's a decent sample size. But I really like this horse in a wide open race. So, you know, it's a little spready for me. I'm at least 4 deep in this one.
Yeah, I'm definitely spreading. I like the horse, Pete. My only concern is the class. She did, the Vixen point is very well made. And I just don't know how good that race she's coming out of. And it just seems like there's some others in here that might be better. but maybe not. I'm using her defensively. I don't like her quite as much as you do, but I do respect the pick. Let me go to the 11, Al Jafara. Now, as you know, Pete, and people that watch and listen to the show, I'm not just auto Chad Hughes. In fact, I usually try to beat him in a lot of situations. I did a lot of deep diving, a lot of research for this weekend for obvious reasons, because let's just say I'm playing a little more of my own personal money than normal, Pete. Doesn't mean I'm going to be right, but I'm going to be prepared. I can tell you that. Al Jafara had 2 starts last year, has not raced obviously since September at Shaun T, which I've been to personally. Raced on the 7th. They started her off at a mile race. What does that tell you? That tells me, Pete, that they want to go long with this one. And the breeding says long also. Then they raced her back, Pete, 9 days later. I mean, that's pretty quick.
Very weird.
I watched the replay. It was a mile and an eighth. This is a pretty big horse. She's big. She's more rangy. Now, this was a long time ago, right? This is when she was 2. I got the feeling that she's a little bit longer winded, more rangy, distance not a problem. I'm not saying she only wants a mile and a quarter. I'm just simply saying when you have a horse running a mile and eighth in September, Pete, they don't think the horse is a sprinter. They definitely want to stretch the horse out, right?
Yep.
This race might be too short for her. Maybe.
That was a little bit my concern. Yeah.
I absolutely. But I will say a few things. She broke well in both starts and has enough tactical speed. And Flavien, this does not strike me as the kind of horse that Flavien's going to take back to last and make her run just to get a race into her. Chad could have gone to Tampa, right, with this horse. I mean, he does that a lot in the winter, but no, he waited and puts her on a big day at Keeneland. I think there's intent there. When she won last time, she did it very well sitting behind. I'm not sure of the strength of the field. I'm not worried about the distance. And the other thing that I think is very important to note about her, and I'm talking like she's going to be a price. She's not. But she's been working with a horse called Golden Canary. Golden Canary is a nice allowance / stake horse. And although Golden Canary worked better than her, it wasn't by much, Pete. So, and that was about a month ago down at Payson. I just think there's a lot of intention here. I think the board's going to tell Pete with Al Jafara, if she's 8-5, 9-5, look out. If she's 3-1, 7-2, I would be less inclined to press up with her. So I'm going to let the board be my guide, but I do like Al Jafara quite a bit. Frankly, there's a lot of horses in here I'm not so sure about. The other one I want to talk about quickly is the number 8, Bessie Abbott. I watched that replay also. Was very impressive in the replay. She is a half to a horse named Spirit and Glory, a real nice turf horse for Rob Falcone.
Yeah, and I stakes winner. Yeah.
Stakes winner. I think Bessie Abbott has every chance to improve, has also been working well down in Florida. So, Pete, my theme here in this race is I'm going to go with the fresh-faced Euros. I just think they might be better than the Americans. We've got to talk about one American. And that's the 5, Burning Pine. I don't know, Pete. She was debuted last year going 4.5 on the dirt, and obviously that means go to Ascot. She did. She was awful, right? She's had a lot of time off, 9 months or whatever. I'm sure this horse is very quick. Rosario's probably going to have the lead with her, although the blinker's off. Maybe they're trying to relax her. This horse could wire the field for sure. I've got her 3rd. You've got her 2nd. This is a tough call for me.
It's one where you're pissed if the horse just goes on the lead and runs around the track, and then you're like, I can't believe I got knocked out of the pick 5 early from a Wesley Ward horse who just went to the top and rolled. But I agree with you. My notes were sort of on and off about this one, but in the end, actually, it was a half. We were talking about halves. Half to graded stakes turf winner Neat, who went long. So that gave me a little, Nyquist on the top side. So at least there's definitely some routing. And you see Neat and underneath Louder Than Bombs, who was a router as well.
So this horse has every right to go the distance.
Yeah, it's just that you would have liked to see something in between that June start at Ascot and now. That's my only question. But again, it's more of a pace play where I don't want to lose to that horse. So,
well, like, they do have a fall meet at Keeneland, so why didn't he run him? Or
yeah,
why didn't he run
and
it
you
there?
don't really know. Yeah, we should have had Charlie on the phone calling Uncle Wesley up. And
that strikes me a bit odd, or am I overthinking that?
No, I agree. That's why I had
Yeah.
a lot of questions, but I just looked at it. I have questions about everything you talked about, but then on the track itself, if this horse just blazes out and is lone speed, then you're pissed. So I look at it a little bit that way.
She's talented. This is a fun race. We could
It's a
see
really
some
good
nice
race.
There could be some real nice 3-year-old fillies coming out of this race, Pete, that we're going to see in New York and Kentucky. This is a race you need to pay attention to because, like I said, there's talent abound. Again, from a contest play, I don't know. This is another tricky read for me. I'm going to have to – that's going to be a common theme, unfortunately. I know Matt Miller is going to be either listening live or taking notes at some point. But, those are both tricky races. I'm just going to the chat to see what we got here. Rob is here. What's up, Rob? Actually, I didn't remember this. Table Flirt ran yesterday, so Anel would be in. The 13 is not going to be in. Thank you, Rob, for that information. Appreciate it. Terry's going 862. We didn't even mention the 6. I don't recall that is. I apologize, Terry. So
Precious Medley 6-1 shot.
Oh, okay.
12-1 shot. I'm sorry.
Oh.
12-1.
Tom's going 293. There's a lot of ways to go in this race. I mean, so we'll see how the Euros are going to be. That's a theme in this pick 5 too, Pete. Will the Euros fire?
Yes.
You know why? Because we're going to talk about a race.
Well, we're going to talk about one soon. Yes. We have some thoughts in that one.
I'm sure you do, my friend. Let's go to one of the 2 stakes. This is race 9 on Saturday, late pick 5, the Stone Street Lexington Stakes, Grade 3. The very last Derby prep of the Derby prep season. And by the way, Pete, speaking of Derby prep season, people should check out our Horse and Around show from last night where we talked about the Derby prep season in particular. But going back to this race, it is, of course, for 3-year-olds, 400,000, mile and a 16th, field of 9. Although I heard from our group chat that Touchy, the number 9, might be scratching. I have not found intel on that, but that's what
Touchy ran on the 7th, so Monday.
Okay,
so
well, there you go. So
that is a little quick to turn around, but I guess you never know. So I don't know if it was official, but it didn't seem very likely. Yes,
I would agree. Thank you for that info. I've been very busy trying to get ready for this weekend and everything, getting everything.
Oh wait, Touchy. Oh hey, Ryan just said Touchy and Rolando are both scratching.
I knew about Rolando. Rolando ran in the Commonwealth.
Just ran in the same race, actually. They ran in the same race.
They ran in the Lafayette. Thank you.
You know what's funny? Let me tell you how stupid I am some days. I was looking at it going, what? Go ahead. Hey, look at this.
Look who's here. Paul made it. How you doing, Paul?
What's up, Paul?
I am doing great. How are you guys?
I'm doing great. You're in Lexington. How's dinner?
Talk about my stupidity, Paul. You came in just in time, so
that's perfect. Pete, I feel your pain, brother. Go
ahead. Tell us though first. How was dinner?
No, nothing in particular. No, actually, I haven't been that stupid this time. I had a bad. I was on a bad relationship with the photo finish camera yesterday. We had some real marital problems yesterday, and
I'm sorry.
Well, it was back to back. It was the Euro who got caught by Ian Wilkes' horse in the Shinkertown, and it was East Avenue getting caught by Burnham Square in the
yeah. Well, but East Avenue qualified for you, Paul. So that was,
Yeah, and it sounds like they're going to go, and and really, if you think of it, if he had won the race, they almost certainly would say, yeah, of course we're going to go. Well, he lost by, I don't know what it was, a head, nose or a head. So, yeah, I don't, he's not going to run that way in the Derby. I can assure you of that. He will, but Luan Machado, I know we're talking about Saturday, but Luan Machado did everything he was supposed to do in that race. So just, sometimes they went 22.95 for the first quarter. I think if they go 23.05 or 23.10, he wins. So, anyway.
Paul, real quick, Paul, because we're in the middle of handicapping the Lexington. How was dinner? You had dinner tonight with the Dormans and Mr. Banahan, correct? I believe, or might you have the wrong name?
Mine was the Dorman, Danny Mulvihill.
Danny Mulvihill, okay.
Who brought Cody's Wish into this world? Danny Mulvihill and his wife, and but the great Buff Bradley, former trainer of Hall of Fame nominee groupie doll.
Okay. And when's dinner with the Dormans? I guess I had the time wrong.
They were there. No, they were there tonight.
Oh, they were there. Okay. And how are they doing?
Yeah. They're doing great. They're doing
Wonderful.
great. They're coming to the track Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So you'll see them twice.
Nice.
Terrific. Well, let's get back to the Lexington here.
Sure.
Touchy is out. Rolando's out. That takes a lot of speed, Pete, out of the Derby. And Paul, I don't have your picks, but you can give us a picks as we go along. Let's see what we're going to do here. Again, the winner gets 20 points, ladies and gentlemen, but none of these horses can qualify for the Kentucky Derby based on the points situation. Let's see where we do. Oh, look at this, Pete.
Ooh,
I'm going 7-6-8, and Pete is going 7-6-3. I didn't know the 8 was out. Sorry, the 8 and the 9's out. My bad.
The 8's, yeah,
I'm good. Pete, you and I are thinking the same thing here. A lot of speed's taken out of the race. So what do? We go with in theory, the two horses that are going to be 1-2, 2-1 on the first turn. At least that's how I see it. I had a very tough time between the 6 and the 7. I think Gosker could be very good also. We'll talk in details right now about my dilemma, but we are both going with Prater, which is a very good friend, apparently, of Charlie Freeman, who will get to see his good buddy in person on Saturday. Pete?
Yeah, just for good juju, I had to pick Prater hopefully our guy Charlie gets to see his horse win. But I agree with you. I mean, he's just, he's got some nice speed, but he's also could sit off a bit, which is nice because we're not really sure with him. And like you talked about, who you'll talk about in a second, Gosker would try to close in the initial race and hit the gate. So it was a little further back, but actually made up some ground. And then in the next one, it was very close, just sitting on the pace. So between those two, I assume there's going to be at least a decent amount of pace. But again, I'm going to put my trust in my guy, Flavian, to make the correct decision on Prater as to how to run. There you go. Looking at the replay here where he looks pretty strong striding out here. And I guess the one thing you would look at, I guess his breeding maybe leans a little bit shorter, but I don't think the extra half furlong or the extra half here. Yeah, the extra half furlong here is going to be enough. I think he can handle that. And I think Pratt can guide him to handling that. The one note that I put in our chat that upset Charlie a bit, Chad Brown, switching off Lasix in male graded stakes races on dirt. So a very, very specific one. 0 for 25. So that's not although I have just as bad a one on Gosker. I'll just give that one real quick. Brendan Walsh, 1 for 31, switching off Lasix in stakes races on dirt. So it's the battle of whose horse can run better off Lasix when they don't usually do it between the 6 and 7, or maybe that means you're supposed to go against both of them and take somebody else.
Well, I'm going to leave both of them on the screen. Paul, why don't you let me talk real quick. We'll interject Paul here. I'm going to leave both of them on the screen like that so people can see. Pete, you already touched on a few things. Let me talk about the positives. Gosker is bred to go long. I mean, absolutely bred to go 2 turns for sure. I'll just look at the dam was unraced, but dropped Harvey's Little Goyle, who was a really nice turf horse. And okay on the dirt too, and absolutely wanted to go long. Archie the Giza, look how long-winded these horses are. Another wasn't that good, but was 2 turns. So when you look at that, you think, okay, Gosker absolutely wants to go long. The negative for me is I thought the field that he beat was not great in the maiden race. However, it came back a very fast time. Meanwhile, Prater is out of a Curlin's approval. Of course, we know about Curly, but Curlin's approval was a sprinter, and all the babies were more like milers at most. Neither one of them has gone 2 turns. Gosker has the inside, so Prater could just stalk. I think Prater's the better animal, but I'm not so sure. And going forward and longer, I would actually like Gosker more. But on Saturday, I think I like Prater more. Paul, let's interject your thoughts, and then we'll talk about Bullard and a few others for the Lexington.
Yeah, I think Howard Prater is the most likely winner, but I don't know if he's a horse you're supposed to bet at the price he's going to be. I mean, I think he's with, what I'm saying, with those scratches. Now it's down to a 7-horse field at max. We don't know what's going to happen Saturday morning. he is stretching out. To your point about the damn side pedigree, look, he could just run them off their feet. The fact that no one can get in the Derby out of this, I mean, it's really, there's a lot of starch taken out of it. I'm curious as to why this Hypnus horse is in here for Ken McPeak. Two dreadful efforts on the Derby trail. Maybe Kenny's just looking at it like, well, this is a big step down, which it clearly is from those two races. But I just wonder if those two races just weren't too bad to be true. I don't know. I mean, I'm probably reaching, but I don't. I mean, obviously you have to keep Prater on the top line, but it looks on paper like not a very good betting race at first glance.
Paul, I don't think you're reaching at all. This is a weird entry, right? If this horse needed points to get in the Derby, it would have made a lot more sense, obviously, right? The fact that it's so weird, I actually like it. Like, the horse must be feeling good, worked great must be with the blinkers on. I've always thought he had talent. In fact, I think Pete and Paul, I think I picked him second in our Louisiana Derby preview. I liked him a little bit, just didn't run. The fact that he's here, Pete, I know you don't have him in the top 3. If 6 and 7 hook up and maybe Bullard, who we have to talk about, maybe Bullard goes. I mean, because Bullard's not slow. And the way the track is playing, maybe the connections want to send. I don't know. I don't think Hypnus is out of the question, and Bullard's a huge question mark. I know a lot of the West Coast gentlemen on our show like Bullard, obviously. He's been ouchy. He's been injured a little bit. He's very talented. He's never gone 2 turns either. There's just, I don't know. I don't like the vibe with him. He missed the Triple Crown now. He missed the Derby opportunity, but they might want to go to the Preakness. Suppose they want to go to the Preakness with Prater too. This is a tricky read, this whole race, really.
Yeah, well, to go back to Hypnus real quick, I maybe that's the same thought there as well, is to get another race in and maybe shoot for the Preakness. My biggest question with Hypnus is the only good race on the page was in the slop. It's got a 426 Tomlinson rating as well. So maybe just like the slop, and even that monster work on the 7th was on a muddy track. So it could just be that this horse just likes the wet track, and maybe that's his. Go ahead.
Let me just poo-poo a little bit, since you like to poo-poo. We talk about time form ratings a lot, guys. Remember these numbers on the right. Just take a look at the numbers. The dirt numbers are, of course, the brown, right? Bracket Buster's too slow, 97, 95. Bullard 106 is paired up time form. But again, guys, that's 7 furlongs, right? Okay, let's go on to some others. Gosker got a 108. Does that mean Gosker is better than Bullard? According to time form, ran a better time. That doesn't mean he's a better horse, but that's a serious fig, 108, right? Prater is right there, 105, 106, right? And here's the slow horse, supposedly. I'm just being cheeky with you, Pete, but these bad, quote unquote, bad races were 101 and 108.
Yeah.
That's just as good as anyone in the field, if you believe it. And now he's got blinkers on. So if you believe in time form, ladies and gentlemen, I'm just going to leave it for the viewer and listener to take that into consideration.
Yeah, but you also worry, is that just because he didn't do any running? Was that mostly just him being carried by a lot better horses in a lot better races? So
this is a weaker field, though, than he's been facing.
No, I agree. And I think I liked Hypnus in the Louisiana Derby too, and I thought he was super disappointing. But to me, my questions are, is he just a wet track horse? If he's not, he has to run well here if he's a good horse, because this field is beatable. And if he's a good horse, he has to run well. I just don't know. It's hard to know if he will.
I guess my thing, Paul, is it feels like they're going to point the Preakness, right? Like, otherwise, why run in this race? Because they're not going to wait. They're not going to wait all that time for the Preakness, right? So I think they want to see if this horse can do better in blinkers. And boom, if he can, we got a new horse. That's my thinking. I could be wrong. That's just, it feels that way to me, Paul.
Yeah, and I agree with you, because why would, after those last 2 efforts, the horse obviously has to be feeling good, because, and I'm sure he got, the head to toe once over, and it might have been a twice over after both of those races. It's not unlike East Avenue, who didn't run that badly. The result was as bad, but East Avenue's Rebel was just a real head scratcher. But they came out and said nothing's wrong with the horse physically. Let's take it on the short. So I don't know. I'm probably reaching a little bit here, but you can have Prater at 4-5, or this horse maybe at 5-1. I'm going to take the 5-1.
Whoa, Prater's gonna be that low?
I don't think he's going to be much over even money.
Really? I was thinking more like really 7-5, 8-5.
Oh, that's not that much over even money.
Well, you said 4-5 originally. Yeah, okay.
The only last thing on him
Pete Ryan Anderson, co-host of Pacific Horse Play, is very insulted right now. He's like, you guys are barely talking about the horse that's going to win by 4, Bullard. Why don't you take a minute to talk about Bullard, and we do need to move on.
I mean, I like Bullard, and I liked Bullard as a horse. I don't know what he's going to – I mean, like you said, you talked about him a little bit. First time going 2 turns, the dam side leans a little sprint, so I'm not sure if the 2 turns are going to be his friend or not. He's got some solid works. I just don't love I didn't love the last race. I thought he should have ran better. I thought he had a trip that he could have run better with. I didn't like it. He came back his first race in 2025 as a 3-year-old, just from a figure standpoint, didn't move up. So did he level out would be my concern. And if he leveled out, then maybe he's just not that good. And he's just
McCarthy certainly, McCarthy knows what he's doing. There's a lot of question marks here. And you know what, Paul, I hate to keep going back to Hypnus because it's not my top pick. He's the only one that we know can run pretty well 2 turns.
Yeah.
Right. The other ones we don't know yet. So really fun race. Very interesting. There's no first missions in here, Paul, of course, but
no. Correct.
All right. Let's go on to the next race, guys. This race, the Jenny Wiley is always one of my favorite races of the year. I don't know how you guys feel, but usually there's like some monster Chad Browns and like really, really good horses. I gotta say, this year, I don't think there's any monsters at all. But wow, what a betting race this is going to be. I mean, and there are some bombs in here that they could absolutely hit the board. There's 3 Euros. I don't love the Americans. This is a very, very difficult race. Let's go ahead and bring it up. The Jenny Wiley is the grade 1 of the day. Race 10. It's a field of 9, $650,000. They're going a mile of 16th. There's the field. The morning line favorite is the 1 for Chad Brown. New acquisition for him, a Euro. And Flavian's going to ride Excellent Truth, who is a 5-year-old. There's 2 other Euros. Choicia, I'm probably mispronounced that. Choicia, I believe, the number 2, and the number 6, Jabara. Those are all Euros. Let's take a look and see where we're going to go here. I also want to mention the rails are down on Saturday, which in theory helps the closer a little bit. We'll see. The turf at that point, Paul, if it doesn't rain tomorrow, there's a small chance of rain tomorrow, I heard. If it doesn't rain, or even if it only rains a little bit, we might be finally looking at a firm turf course on Saturday, which would be nice. But the rails are down. I just want to mention that on Saturday. Let's go and look at our picks. Paul will interject his picks because he's the surprise visitor tonight. I'm going 7-6-1, and Pete's going 2-7-5. Paul, let's just get your top 3 first, then we'll go into the race. What's your top 3?
Yeah, I like 6-7-1.
Did you just look at my picks, Paul? You just
no, is that what you have?
Gonna...
Oh my God! I know I was looking at my PPs.
I'm just kidding. This is a very tricky. Well, Paul, I'm gonna let you go first. I spent 35-40 minutes on this race. I'm not even joking. I did a lot of research with the Euros. I want to thank Davey Lane for helping me find some websites that were good to look at, and I'm actually registered on a few websites, so I have more intel than probably a lot of other Americans. Again, that doesn't mean I'm going to be right Saturday, but I will give some people some intel, and you can do whatever you want with it. You're going to go with Jabara for Roger Varian and Rosario, Paul, 9-2, an Irish spread. What do you like about this 4-year-old filly?
Well, a couple of things. I mean, the race that jumps off the page to me, Howard, is the Newmarket race, the Falmouth Stakes, in which she ran second to Porta Fortuna, who's a very, very good filly. The other thing is, and we've talked about this many times, it's the Euro coming over that has only run one distance and now has to stretch out a little bit. Well, that Newmarket race was a mile, so I have no question. Doesn't mean this horse is going to win, but I have no concerns whatsoever about getting another half a furlong, even though the last two races have been seven and a quarter, which we don't often see over here. Gets Rosario to ride. And I agree with you about the race, though. I think there's a lot of there are a lot of ways you could go.
Instead of me interjecting, I'm going to let you guys talk, and then I'll talk about the Euros. Pete, you're going to go with another Euro, and I apologize. It's a host fail. I believe it's Choicia, I believe is how you pronounce the two. This is Simon Crisford. Saez is going, well, I don't know if Saez, did he ride today, by the way, Paul?
He did not. He wanted to. And these guys are so tough. It's not even funny. Because that was a bad fall. And there was a period of time where I was not there yet. We were en route, but have talked to people since we got here. And there was a period of time where people were very, very concerned. So he did not ride today. I don't know about tomorrow. I would assume we will definitely see him by the weekend.
Yeah. Pete, I'm assuming one of the things you liked about this too was obviously the last race when she beat a horse we all know, which is Cinderella's Dream. That was a 1.8 mile in the Balanchine Grade 2. Also won the Cape Verde Grade 2, both in Maidan. She just seems to be getting better and better.
Yeah, that's what I liked. I mean, just like any other way we handicap, whether it's the foreign horses or the U.S. horses, she came off a nice little layoff from September to January, and I like that it looks like she just came back strong. And that race, the Cape Verde 2-back, was super impressive. I love the way she's really powerful down the lane, and she strided out and she blew that field away, and it was super impressive. Then you come back, and we don't have to show obviously the replays, you'd have to watch on like
Newport
TVG
Lights.
or YouTube.
Come on, Newport Lights. Newport Lights. I get enough crap from Pete and Paul. Didn't the weather have a little bit of a factor in racing last week? I'm just saying.
No, it did.
All right, go ahead.
It moved the races, but the races were fine once they ran them.
I apologize. Go ahead.
So then in the last race, like you said, against Cinderella's Dream, who came over here and was super impressive when she was here. And if you watch that replay, she held her off because Cinderella's Dream looked like she was going to go by, and that was going at 1 1/8 miles, and she was able to dig in, and she held Cinderella's Dream off, and they pulled away from the field. And again, that was super impressive. I love this horse. You guys don't have him even in the top 3. This is my best bet of the day. Whoa. It's funny though, she was my best bet, so I got to her and I was like, man, I love this horse. But then as I got through the rest of the field, I was like, man, but this field is really tough. So I love the horse, but this field came back really tough. But I really love this horse, and I think she could be something. So I love her here. And if she can be if you can get her as like the third choice, which she is on the morning line, I would love that.
I mean, she's a bit of a late bloomer. She was staked, but those are a lot of Group 3s and like listed stakes. She's really, coming.
But if you look,
now.
Actually, a couple of the races she didn't do well in were on soft turf, so it could be that. And again, even if you just look from a time form standpoint, she just looks like she got better now. So yeah, maybe she is a late bloomer.
Yeah.
But we've seen from 4 to 5 big improvement. It's not always as big as like 2 to 3, 3 to 4, but we've seen that 4 to 5 improvement, and I'm hoping that's the case here.
The time form rating for the 1 is 110, 109. You got 111s, and then you go to the 6, which is significantly lower, actually, 101, 102, if you believe in time form. I saw some official ratings where the 2 doesn't look as good, but the time form's got her good. It's hard to say. Let's talk about the 1, guys, the other Euro. Excellent Truth. I have her third. Pete, you have her nowhere. Paul, you have her in the mix. What was your thought here, Pete or Paul, either one of you? This is a Chad Brown acquisition for Resolute Racing. I mean, the connections say go. And she just finished in the pre-Rothschild last year. Well, not just. It was July of last year. And lost to a nice up-and-comer. What do you guys think of this one?
Okay, do you want to go, Paul?
No, good, Pete. You can go. Okay. I'll chip in.
I mean, this is one. It's hard not to like. It's a Chad Brown coming over where you're picking up Pratt, and it's a foreign horse. picking up Pratt. I just thought I was making there were some tough decisions to make here. The 8-month layoff, which usually isn't much for, Chad is usually not a trainer that you worry about long layoffs, but this horse doesn't seem to run well off the layoff. Has had 3 layoffs, 3 lined layoffs there, and didn't run her best races in each of those 3 races. So that was one knock. She was okay on the firm turf, so she wasn't great. So coming over, I'm sure she'll take to it, or that's why they're bringing her over. But there were some things there, and I just had some Chad Brown stats that I didn't love. I won't get into them, but there were some Chad Brown stats that were surprisingly bad with this scenario. And so I'm like, at 5-2, who's probably going to take even more money than that, I would assume, just because of the connections. It was still an A for me, but it was off the top 3.
Something very rare for me in this race, Pete. You'll appreciate this especially. I have 4 A's. And the 4th A is one that is the one you like a lot, Pete, and that is the 2. So I'm using mainly 1, 2, 6, 7. Here's my thought, guy. Well, let me talk about the Euros. Just add what you said, and then the last race will take 2 or 3 minutes. It's not, there's going to be a big favor in that race, and we'll talk about it, but we need to talk about this a little more. There's a few things, guys, that I'm a little bothersome that I don't like about the one. First of all, where has she been? There are a lot of good races in the late summer and fall, and they just chose her not to run at all. I don't like that. Number 1. Number 2, last year, yes, she finished second in the Group 1. Guys, I watched the race. It was a 6-horse field. She got into no trouble. She ran perfectly well, but it didn't I don't know. It didn't wow me. It was a small field. She did what she did. I don't know. And in the 2 races before that, guys, those were just listed stakes. That's like grade 3s for us at best. Like I don't get the feeling she's some kind of monster. The other thing is, and Paul, I want to talk to you about this because you're very familiar with Saratoga and Chad's string over the summer. I find it a little weird that he's taking over a horse of this age. Like if she was 3 or going to be 3 or going to be 4, I'd be like, look out. She's already 5. I'm not saying she can't improve for Chad, but I don't know. It's not like she's already who she is. No, I mean, do we really think do we really think Chad can really move her up that much off this kind of layoff? I'm a bit dubious. Am I crazy?
I don't think you're crazy, but I think John Stewart is obviously has seemingly infinite funds, and I think he's just getting started with Chad, and I think Chad, looking at the potential for the type of horses that could come his way from Mr. Stewart, would explain him wanting to take on a Mr. Stewart horse.
Good point. And Noah, who's familiar with Resolute Racing, used to work for them. And I didn't know this. They bought Excellent Truth out of the Arcana sale. Arcana is like basically our Phasing Tipton in Europe. It's a big time sale. Obviously, this was horses that had already run. Obviously, in that sale, it wasn't for babies. So they have those horses too. Pete, I hear you. I like the horse. I don't think Cinderella's Dream was cranked up. That was her first start back, so I know it looks really good because of that, but I don't think Cinderella's Dream was fully cranked for that race. And Cinderella's Dream wasn't like that fast last year. I know she ran well in the Breeders' Cup, but how good was that Breeders' Cup filly in Mare Turf in general?
Yeah, but she's better than this field. She's
probably
better than this field. No, she's better than this field. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. Fair enough.
I mean, she's still a Breeders' Cup contending horse, right. Where you could have logically picked her to win the Breeders' Cup. In all honesty, or at least you could have logically.
Cinderella's Dream.
Yeah, I mean, you could have made it.
Yeah, but I don't. I mean, Moira was. I mean, I don't. We've seen a lot better filling Mare Turf. So I'm saying.
No, we have, but they're still better than this field.
Probably.
Right
here. Yeah, probably right.
Trust me, this horse is gonna look great and is gonna win. So I don't even have to make an argument. The argument will be on Saturday when they actually run.
Okay, she can win. Let's talk about the other one.
She will win. Watch. I don't ever say that on this show. She will win this race.
He is very confident.
Yes,
I love that.
She will win.
Love the confidence.
Race. Yes.
Paul Jabara, I've got second. I am slightly worried about the distance. I've watched 3 or 4 replays. She's got a really nice turn of foot, but it's not an elongated turn of foot. She's got like a quick 1/16 of a mile burst. That's really impressive. And she used it, guys, 2 back when she won at Goodwood on July 31st, she beat Rakia. You guys remember Rakia? Rakia came to Del Mar on Breeders' Cup undercard and was the one horse that day and wired the field in a nice listed stake, and then came back in the Filly and Mare Turf at the Pegasus Filly and Mare Turf and didn't run great, but didn't use her speed. I'm assuming you guys remember that horse. Well, Jabara beat Rakia. However, that was only going 7. And Jabara was slowing down at the end, and I think
and interfered, and I could have seen Rakia winning that race.
Not in European terms interfere, but in our terms probably did interfere.
Well, I mean, she got disqualified, Jabara.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
It was bad if you watch it because she dove to the rail.
She did.
She dove really badly. It was crazy.
She did, but her acceleration's really good.
Now, yeah.
The Wolverhampton, I like the fact she's got a prep Pete and Paul. I like that a lot, number one. Number two, the Wolverhampton race, and I watched it, she was ready to burst through and she couldn't find room. Then she ducked to the inside and couldn't find room. It was not a good trip. I think she's got the quickest turn of foot between all the Euros. I'm not convinced she's going to handle the mile 16th, but I think she's interesting. Let's get to my horse, guys. All that being said, all the Euros, look what I'm doing. I'm going with the damn American, and I'm going with a Wesley Ward 2-turn horse. But guys, this is not your normal Wesley Ward 2-turn horse. She is fast. She was really good last year. She won dominantly. When they stretched to mile 16th, she wasn't as good, but that turf was getting a little bit softer. It was the end of the year. Wesley Ward is pointing to this spot, and we could say all we want about the Euros, guys, but they're not speed horses. I think Keo Beach will be on the lead. I think it's going to be a relatively slow pace, and I think she's really good, and I'm going to go with Totori and Keo Beach. Pete, you've got her second. Paul, you think she's definitely interesting too. She's going to have to run the race of her life, but I just don't think these Euros are superstars, and I think a lot of the other Americans are just okay. And so I'm going to go with the fresh-faced American. Thoughts?
When you get on the turf, you can, because she has a clear pace advantage. So
she does.
We see how devastating that can be on the turf, even if you may not be the best horse. And I mean, not that she's not the best horse, but even if you're not the best horse, a clear pace advantage like that can be tough to deal with. Yeah, and Dottori's tough when he can get a horse on the lead on the turf and he has a pace advantage like this. He finds a way for those horses to get to the wire. So I think there's a lot to like. And again, are they just better than her? It's always hard to know. But, she's going to be in the race till late. You're going to have to run her down. That's one thing.
Paul, I tried to beat her like this in the Miss Revere, and I tried to beat her in the N2X. She's really good. She's going to have to be good, though, Saturday.
Yeah, I'm not. She is good, and she is fast. And we'll talk about the turf in a minute. I'm just not. How sure are we about the fields that she's beaten? As far as and I get it. This is not. Yeah. There's no. Superstar Euro coming over here, but you know what? There's 3 or 4 of them that look like they could potentially win, and I just don't know if this one is going to be good enough to beat all of them. She might be. Good. As you say, she could run them off their feet. I would say, Howard, if without a lot of rain, it was supposed to get rain overnight and end by 9 a.m. and that's about it. And if that's the case, based on what I heard tonight, I would say almost certainly by this point on Saturday it would be firm. The turf course is unbelievable. Buff Bradley had dinner with us, and as you know, Buff trained for a long time. And Buff now works for Keeneland. And he said he was out there. He said, first of all, he was shocked that they were able to run the Monday stakes on it. And he said he was out there for the trophy presentation, and he was really shocked. He said he walked down the stretch a little bit. He could not believe the shape it was in based on, we're talking about 8 inches of rain in this area over 3 days. 3 or 4 days. So he said he could not believe, and I think you pointed this out, Howard, in our text thread, the race, even on that first day they ran on it, they weren't like kicking back clumps of turf. It's just in unbelievable shape relative to the weather they had. So, which I think it benefits the whole point of this is that can only benefit the horse you picked. Although I will say, as you described the 6 Jabara, and we all to some degree have this love-hate thing with Joel, but he is the perfect guy for what you described. That one burst, because no one gets that one burst better than him.
If Jabara wants to win this, Paul, and she's not because Pete's horse is winning, but if she wants to win, I think she needs to be within like a few lengths of the 7 of Keel Beach and just be better. And but I don't think Jabara is winning this race, Paul, from deep. The Jabara's got to be up, not on the lead, but I mean, relatively close, just off. But we didn't even talk about Be Your Best, Sacred Wish. There's a really solid
Sacred
Americans.
Wish I get wrong every time. I go the wrong way on Sacred Wish every single time. If I pick her, she loses. If I pick against her, she wins. I can never get that horse right.
Neither one of those horses, guys. I know they were in the Pegasus World Cup turf, but that's a grade 1 over the winter, right? I don't feel like they class up in this type of situation. But look, there's a lot of ways you can go. I have no idea, Paul. Paul's playing the grade 1 gamble. It's tricky because that race that we just talked about for quite a while, and with good reason, is the penultimate race of the contest, Paul. People are probably going to have to make a move there. I got to be very honest. If I'm in a good situation, and who knows what the hell, I might be way gone by then. I might have to skip that race, which I hate to do, but boy, I don't know where I'd go in that race. I don't have a lot of confidence with a lot of horses. So let's just talk for a second. We'll go a little longer tonight, Paul. It's okay. From a contest perspective, let's just talk about you. We don't give away your secrets, but would you play a double, or would you say this race is just too tough? I might wait till the last race or just take a stand earlier, because we'd love to push there, but boy, it's tricky, isn't it?
I think it's really tricky, and I think you have to go backwards. Now we're talking contest world, I think you have to go backwards and think about what you feel about Prater. Because I think that the play would be play doubles into this race and then don't have to play the race on its own, unless you need to play doubles going forward. But I don't know that the last race, if the last race runs to form, it doesn't appear as if there might be all that great value within the race itself. Right. So I agree, Howard. This is, thinking about what happened with me 2 years ago. There was that Chad, one of Chad's monsters winning this. Oh God, it wasn't Gina Romantic. It was his other filly. I can't believe I can't think of her name. But anyway, it was a stone cold, something going into a horse that looked good in the last race. But that horse was a stick out. Right. Now we just talked about Pete loves the 2 more than he likes Oxygen. The one, we're trying to beat a Chad Brown Pratt. So the one's obviously formidable. You and I, Howard, make a semi-intelligent case talking about the 6. You make a good case for the 7 on the lead. Sacred Wish, Pete, I'm with you. That was a tough beat. I liked Sacred Wish in the Pegasus turf. I do agree with Howard. I'm not sure this is the day, but
was that in Italian, Paul? By the way, was it in Italian? Was it 23 when you?
In Italian,
when you won?
It was in Italian. Yeah.
Yep.
Which Howard would have never played that horse, Pete, because of the name.
I mean,
hold on. Pete, you're not giving Paul shit about not remembering a name called in Italian. If I forgot the name, Pete, God damn it, if I forgot the name in Italian, Paul, he would have been on me. He would have been destroying me
Pete,
for the next 25 shows, man.
Howard.
Hey, Pete,
go ahead,
in fairness to me, Pete, she was only the first half of a $10,000 double. Why would I remember her name?
Paul was a little delirious at that point. Plus, it's 10:05. We know after 10 o'clock, he's like a gremlin. After 10 o'clock,
all right.
You never know what you're going to get. So
Pete, I'm going to remember. Pete Visco, I remember this moment.
If this was our normal
people that are listening or watching, they know they agree with me, Pete.
Well, you know why I didn't do it? Because I didn't remember that's who won it either. So, because I have a shitty memory too.
I feel better, Howard.
Yeah.
So. Okay. All right. Actually, Rob said it was Regal Glory. Are we sure it was Regal? Are we sure it was in Italian?
In 23,
no, it was in Italian.
Won the Jenny Wiley. I'm looking at it now.
Yeah. All right.
I remember it now. It's all coming back to me.
Okay. All right, guys, let's go on to the last race. Last race is a starter allowance 50,000. We'll talk for a few minutes here. 7 furlongs, about 7 furlongs actually. Field of 12. There are some AEs. There's a big more line favorite, number 8, Sherbini for Cassie and Irad. Remember that it's a starter allowance race because that's important to understand. So they've started for a claim price of 50,000 or less. And I bring that up for a particular reason. I'm going 8, 10, 6. Look at this. Pete, I take everything back. We're on with the same thing. You're going 8, 10, 6. There's really not much to say here other than why is Sherbini even eligible for this race when the number 8 Sherbini was in the Spinaway, the Alcibiades, the Rag to Riches? Well, the horse only cost 40,000, Pete and Paul, and in her first race ever at Churchill, see that R, everyone? Let me make it bigger. Does everyone see this R right here? This was a race that was restricted for horses that cost, I think it's 50,000 or 40,000 or less, and that's why the horse is eligible for this race. This horse towers over the field by class, but it is a long layoff. I think if she's ready, Pete, you would think she'll be pretty damn tough in here.
Yeah, I mean, it's just hard to look at the horses she's lost to. I mean, she's run pretty. I mean, look at those races, and I mean, she loses to the Queen's MG, who is a an Oaks level horse, Immersive, the best 2-year-old, and probably would have been close to the best 3-year-old. Quiet Side, who's going to be one of the Oaks favorites. Good Cheer, the Oaks favorite. Claire's Charm isn't even that bad. And you look at that and go, man, if she moves forward from any of that, she should crush this field. But she's been off for a while, and we've seen horses come back and they don't improve. And if she doesn't improve, and now you're talking, what's she going to be? 3 to 5, most likely? She's going to be pretty low.
About right.
This is a pretty bad field otherwise.
You know what's weird though? Again, time form, take it or leave it. We take it here. We like it. Let's look at the time form rate. Now, this is when she was 2 though, right, Pete? But you see 98. Okay, so 98, 97, 98. There is a 103. The main competition would say is the 10, right? Way too slow.
Yeah.
87. And then the other one, which is the speed, is the 6. Okay, 94, but could be loose. I mean, you could argue, Paul, that why isn't Sherbini why isn't Sherbini in an allowance race? Let me go back. She's in a starter allowance, but why isn't she in a race that would be a bigger purse? And let me see if she's won. She's won once. Okay, so why wouldn't she be in N1X for worth like 110,000, Paul? Because she should absolutely win this race easily, and she qualifies for it. But the purse is like 40 or 50,000 less, so you just have to assume the connection's not worried about the purse, and they're just finding easy place to get started. Bobby Flay ownership. Would you agree with that, Paul?
I do. I think they are looking at it as a place to start. Obviously this horse ran in two of the top grade 1 filly races for 2-year-old fillies last year. They can grab 60% of whatever this purse is. Hey, look, anything can happen. She was entered the other day, Howard, on, I think it was Monday, but she was buried on the AEs. I think she was the 16 horse. She was the 4th AE, and I had kind of made a note on my PPs, if this horse draws in. And I think that might have been an N1X, by the way. So that's worth looking at. I think she was entered on Monday in an N1X that she didn't draw into. And so now here they are coming back this Saturday.
Let me
I'm going to check that as you
check that real quick. I'm going to check
10th race on Monday.
Yes, she was re-entered. That is correct. Yes, she was re-entered. So
that was a starter though. That was also a starter. So.
Oh, okay, interesting.
Same deal.
Hey, by the way, before we go to our best bets, I meant to mention this. The Jenny Wiley. There's a horse at the number 4 who we liked in an allowance race, if you guys recall, or we talked about the horse. And the name of the horse is escaping me, but it's the 4 in the Jenny Wiley, who's
Vina
30 to 1 more. Vina Arana, the number 4 at 30 to 1. Her main breaker at Saratoga last year was unbelievable. Like, wasn't even asked and completely rolled around. You got to watch the replay, ladies and gentlemen, to believe it. She just blew by that field like it was nothing. The fact that Sisterson is running her here still, with only one lifetime win is fascinating. I'm not saying she's going to win, but Pete, if the number 4 and Paul, Vina or Rana, like close up for third and like blows up a try, wouldn't shock me. I just want to mention that.
No, I had that same note. I had the exact same note. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, again, the 2 is winning anyway, right, Pete? So what are we?
But you're talking about the try, so she can run third to
right.
the 2. Yes.
I will say one thing about your 2 before we get to the best bets. I think the 2 has the least amount of questions of the 3 Euros. I question the distance with the Jabara, and I question the 1 just because the layoff or whatever. I don't think there's questions about the 2. The only question is she just good enough, but she also she doesn't have the same other questions as the 2 or 6. So you might be onto something there, Pete. Anyway, very quickly, best bets. Your best bet, Pete. You're on to race 10. There you go. The win on. Do you know how to pronounce it exactly? I don't want to.
No, I forget. I watched every replay. I watched so many replays, but it didn't stick in my head at all.
And then you want to double 2-8. That's the problem, also, Pete, with this contest. Or Paul, sorry. Everyone's going to have Sherbini in the last race.
Right.
So it's going to be hard to make up ground and double. Like, it's going to be fat. This is a really interesting way to end this grade 1 gamble. Let's hope, Paul, you and I have those kind of decisions to make, because you never know. Paul's going to go to race 7, a pick 4, 210 with 2.
With 2, that's 4. An old. No, that's old.
What did I do? Oh, that's right, because you didn't send me a best bet.
Well, I like the. I wasn't on for this, but the first leg, I like the 12 horse. Modus Bestia.
That's Howard's horse, Paul.
Wait a minute. Hold on a second.
Look at that.
Paul,
we didn't talk.
You're so smart. How'd you get so smart, Paul? How'd you get so smart?
Well, I have smart uncles.
Well, there you go. My best bet. I'm going to go to race 8. I'm going to pick 3, guys. I'm going with those 2 Euros, Pete, we talked about. I'm going to go 8-11. And then I'm going to go with the 2 speed horses, Gosger and Prater, 6-7. And I'm going to spread like the Dickens in the Jenny Wiley. It only costs $24. So if I am right in the first 2 legs, I'm, extremely good chance to cash a pick 3 that I think could pay okay, especially if, like the 8 wins in the first leg, maybe Gosker wins, and then whatever. But I think that can pay okay. Guys, a lot of fun. Paul, I wasn't expecting you, but we do have time for a short rant. If you have one, if not, we can hold off.
No, it'd be all positive. I just would encourage people, Howard, and I know you're on the way, and Pete, hopefully you get here. I scratch my head now and say, how did I not get here before 2023? And I got here, I maybe still wouldn't have got here. I got here, for the whole book and to meet the Dormans. But, so Danny Melville's wife asked me at dinner tonight, are you coming back in the fall? And I said, Carol, as long as the good Lord allows me, I am a twice a year Keeneland attendee in perpetuity, because it is really, really a special place. And anyone, I know we have a lot of followers out there, and, plan ahead. You got 2 shots. You got 3 or 4 weeks in April, 3 or 4 weeks in October. The weather's usually pretty good in both counts. This rain was a kind of an anomaly, but, it can get chilly at the end of October meet. I get it. But really, really, if you have not been here, you really, really should get here.
I don't have anything to add. I think my favorite weekend actually is the Fall Stars Saturday. That's the first Saturday of the fall, because it's almost guaranteed to be good weather. It can snow there this spring meet. It has before. It's a little bit dicey. It's colder. I love Keeneland about any time of year, but especially that first weekend in the fall. And Paul, I'm sure I will see you then, my friend, as well. For my wonderful co-hosts, Pete Visco and Paul Howard, and this is your host, Howard Kravitz, episode 404 of Picks and Ponies. We really deep dove tonight, guys, but I think we owed it to our listeners and viewers to do so, because there are a lot of Euros and just a lot of things going on in these races. It's going to be an incredible day of racing and just a great weekend. Most importantly, Pete and Paul, with almost all of our terrific friends and distant relatives, so to speak, we get to see in person. If you're going to be there at Keeneland, ladies and gentlemen, hit me up with a DM, maybe an email. We'll see if we can hook up, have a beverage, have a shot of bourbon, have a a little burgoo. A lot of choices. We have bread pudding. The food at Keeneland, Pete, I gotta tell you. I hear you like to have a beverage and have a little snack once in a while.
I like beverages. The food I don't care that much about. I'm more of a hot dog hamburger guy. So I eat like a 4-year-old or an 8-year-old. But
okay.
But I like the booze side of it. By the way, before you sign off officially, let me say to both of you, good luck in the tournament. Good luck. Hope you have a great weekend. But also, bring it home for us like Paul did. Bring home another championship for the podcast. We'd love to see it.
I'm going to try. Without sounding like a complete a-hole, I feel like I'm due. I've been close in a lot of big money tournaments. I feel like I'm prepared for this card very well. Again, that doesn't mean much other than I can walk away with my head held high, whether it goes good or bad. But if Paul wins again, that would be just, we both might as well retire, Pete, if that happens.
I would love it.
Unbelievable.
We'd love it. He only has so many racing days left in him at his age, so you figure let's get him another one.
Wow. Okay. Well, I know you'll be eating and drinking a lot after the 2 wins to Jenny Wiley, Pete.
I'll be texting both of you. I'll be texting both of you pre-race. Don't forget, just put all your money on the 2, and don't sweat it.
Well, if you want us to say anything to the horse in the paddock, just let us know. We'll do a little horse whisper.
Whisper. No, I don't need you. I don't need you spooking any female horses of mine. So I don't need that. Stay away from Zenyatta too. That's my girl. Leave her alone.
Oh wow, I like Zenyatta.
I was just talking more about your creepy stalker nature that we've seen in the past with some.
I've seen it live and in color.
I know Paul knows.
Hold on.
I'm going. I'm just going by their word. I'm going by their word.
Only with horse. In fairness to Howard, only with 4-legged females.
Yes.
Pete, you're going to get me in trouble.
Actually, it's mostly of 4-legged males. Now that I think of it.
Please clarify, Pete. You're going to get me in trouble. We're jokingly talking about horses I love, ladies and gentlemen.
Talking about horses he loves. Yes, this is. Yeah.
All right. Where are we? The sign off.
Sign off now before we get in trouble.
All right. Let's just very simple. Crush your bets at Keeneland this Saturday. Take care, everyone. Have a great night. Bye-bye.
If you have not followed his Triple H Horse Racing podcast, you're missing out. It's one of the best podcasts in the country.